That was a weird beginning to our podcast because I was looking for the little song and dance thing, but for whatever reason, okay, Rob, you're going to need to make an edit. Let's just leave it there. All right, welcome to the podcast. It is Good Health by Claudia, podcast with me, Denny Schaffer, a production of Denny Radio. This is episode 79. 79 and rolling strong. And that's going to be exciting when we get to show podcast number 100, probably by the end of the year. So we're very excited.
Very cool.
We have another good one. We have a guest standing by and going to jump on with us here shortly. And we're going to talk about something that affects every single one of us, and me probably a little more than most today, because everything hurts today. I played golf yesterday, so I am sore. Now, inflammation. We're going to talk about anti-inflammatory products.
Yes.
Okay, so inflammation, is that just joints, or can inflammation get into muscles?
Well, inflammation is any kind of imbalance. It starts with inflammation. So it can be...
Inflammation can lead to soreness in muscles.
And it can be...
Joints.
Yes, it's joint, but it can be bowel inflammation. It can be brain inflammation. It can be skin inflammation. When people get inflamed in their skin and they get, eczema, psoriasis, it's an inflammatory response. What we're talking about today, yes, inflammation in general, but a lot of joint stuff. We're going to talk about joint health.
All right, let's bring in the expert. We've had him on before. We liked him so much, we asked him back. Say hello to Neil Levin from Now Foods. Hello, Neil. Let me give you a lot of applause.
Hello. Glad to be with you.
Glad to have you. Okay, so
Welcome, Neil.
Why does everything on my body hurt, Neil?
Well, I don't know. Have you had an argument with someone lately?
No, I have not. I'm in good graces with my wife at the moment.
Now, inflammation is a normal part of the body. We need inflammation. We need it to be normal and controlled is the key, though. Right. Inflammation is actually part of the body's immune system and repair system. Think of it as the demolition team or the army of the body. And you need weapons to destroy either invasive organisms that you don't want, or to break down damaged tissue and be able to get rid of the debris and restore it. Inflammation is part of that toolkit in the body. Now, of course, it's supposed to be temporary. It's supposed to be controlled. It's supposed to be minimal. It's not supposed to be chronic. So short acute inflammation is fine and is normal and expected and helpful. Chronic inflammation is disabling and painful, and you don't want that. Inflammation is going to immobilize, for example, a joint that is damaged, or the body perceives it as damaged to some extent, where not only the inflammation will help kind of put a wrap around it so you can't move it so much, but you also tend to have muscles tighten up around there also. Right. Not a comfortable situation.
Is it worse as you get older? Because it seems like it's a lot worse. I'm 66. It just unless I just wasn't paying attention in my 20s, and I probably wasn't, but it seems to be more painful as you get older, and what can you do about it?
Well, we're going to talk about a lot of cool things you can do.
Okay, but I mean, what about that question? Is it as we get older, is it more prevalent? There it is. Prevalent as we get older, Neil.
In general, yes. People, when they get older, they've been abusing their bodies for so long that eventually it catches up to them. They may have been not getting enough nutrients to maintain their body, as well as doing things that damage their body. And injuries they might have earlier in life tend to come back and haunt them. You've also got the everyday people with their aches and pains and overdoing it, weekend warriors, all that kind of stuff going on. So you've got these acute problems where people have a short-term temporary issue, and you have the longer term where something kicks in. I have, for example, a damage in one of my discs from 30 some years ago when I was a retailer. And, occasionally that's going to kick in and keep bothering me. And it's, if you do an MRI or X-ray of the area, you'll see some degeneration of that area. So of course that's going to be a constant area I have to be aware of and try to take care of.
But that's the beauty and the importance of supplements, because when we give our body the tools that it needs to address an issue, it will address an issue. It will move us in a more positive way. But I just want to say, in regard to chronic inflammation, it's fair to say most people are kicking up their own inflammation every day by the very food that they're eating and the things they're drinking.
You're going to say sugar, aren't you? And then you're going to say everything starts in the gut.
But it does. And it's very true.
But it is sugar, isn't it?
Well,
it's
sugar's
a trigger.
Yeah. I mean, we have people that, they can't do dairy. So a little bit of dairy whacks them out. A little bit of carbs will affect them. So everyone's very different. And of course, I like the blood typing thing, but that's a whole
I
other.
do too.
But
what about alcohol?
I think a lot of people get inflamed from alcohol. They may not.
So sugar and alcohol, I'm screwed.
Yeah. But you're doing a good job.
I am doing a good
Neil,
job.
what do you want to say over there?
Well, you could certainly cause inflammation of the liver with overdoing it with alcohol. And how much is too much? People have different opinions of that.
Right.
A few years ago, there was an opinion that men for cardiovascular health could handle up to 2 drinks, which would be, a shot of alcohol or a beer, like a bottle or can of beer as a serving, and women could handle 1 and it would be okay and maybe even beneficial. But of course, then there's issues with what's it doing to the rest of your body, such as the liver. And
Right.
of course, that's another story. So
that's another story.
Yeah.
And especially when we talk about beer and wine feed fungal issues. So you have a lot of people that have a fungal overgrowth. They just don't realize it. And I personally think fungal issues are epidemic in the United States. We deal with them all day long, every day. So, there's all these variables. And I think that, people that try to make these blanket statements about maybe how much alcohol, I don't know. How does anybody know that?
No one knows. Everybody's different.
Exactly.
Just like blood type, everybody's different. So.
And of course, they're talking about a specific issue like cardiovascular health, not the other things that substance is doing in the body. So it's not a holistic approach. It's a piecemeal approach.
So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, is it time to get to the product so we can start helping people?
Well, it is. But I just wanted to say one more thing about joint health. And again, I have all these things that I believe to be true, just being, as I say, in the trenches for 51 years. Who knows if they are? But I really think that I've always felt that when we talk about joint health, structural health, I think it's fair to say the earlier cultures, pre-industrialization, they were eating real food, real fats and oils. And fats and oils are very important for the human body. One of the things they do is, I always say they oiled the Tin Man for a reason.
Yeah.
So the oils and fats are very important for lubrication and protection. While we're a nation that's been raised on margarine, junk, sugar, all these insults in the food supply. And if the body doesn't have the tools it needs to do what it needs to do,
right,
then, because I remember how many elderly people will tell me when they were growing up, they don't remember people having all kinds of knee problems and everybody was getting a knee replacement and, shoulder issues and all this stuff. Well, they were living a different lifestyle and they were eating a different. So I think that's a very important part of the conversation. So anyway.
You do realize the Tin Man's not real though, right?
They still oiled him. So Neil, we're going to talk about some products. Of course, I forgot the turmeric. I forgot the curcumin, which of course is one of the first things we start with. So why don't we start with that?
Yeah, that's kind of a misunderstood food or supplement because turmeric is a spice. It's used to make the yellow color in mustard. It's used to make curries, things like that. And it's a root or small tuber. and with a golden color. It's a pretty attractive looking thing, and it is very soluble. It absorbs very well, and it tends to help the body deal with aches and pains, minor inflammation, that kind of thing. When you extract it and you end up with what's called the 95% curcuminoid material,
Yes.
you have basically taken it out of a soluble matrix that absorbs readily and made it virtually insoluble. So you need 40 times as much of this extract as you would the same amount of just turmeric itself by dry weight to get the same effect, and because it doesn't absorb very well. So a lot of companies have strategies to add things to it. Black pepper extract is one strategy to increase the absorption. Another one is an interesting product, one that I take myself, curcumin phytosome. And phytosome is where the curcumin is attached to a lecithin fraction, like phosphatidylcholine, to enhance absorption. And there's actually, that's the one I take because I actually lecture on these things. And that's the version of curcumin with the highest, not necessarily the highest bioavailability, but the highest efficacy for joint and muscle aches. And there's things, we can't even say on the label it's so powerful, but there's effects in terms of doctor visits, whether people are taking over-the-counter remedies, from the drugstore. All these things that are dramatic effects over a long-term period, like 6 to 8 months. So you might get some benefit short-term, and you might get some benefit long-term. And that's something I like to stress when we're talking about these joint and inflammatory type products. Some of them are more effective long-term and some are more effective short-term, and you could get combinations of these products as well. For example, glucosamine and chondroitin have often been used for joint health because chondroitin, which is made in the body from glucosamine, and glucosamine is just glucose and a simple amino acid, easy to make. But then you have to add sulfur, you have to make a complex structure from it, and then you end up with chondroitin sulfate. And that is a structural material used to make substances like cartilage, especially articular cartilage, which is the end of the bone that sticks into the joints. So if you imagine, for example, the knee, where there's like a sack of fluid and a bone sticking in and ligaments and things attaching everything, this is ground zero for example, knee pain from, hurting yourself, stepping wrong, all the things like that. The weight-bearing areas tend to get that a lot more than the other areas in the body. So there's a lot more wear and tear. And
so I brought liquid of the glucosamine and the chondroitin, and there's MSM with it. So you were talking about you have to add sulfur to it, which is why you put the MSM in there, correct? Is that why? Yes,
but if you're using glucosamine sulfate, that's already a close step to the chondroitin sulfate. Glucosamine itself is a compound made in the body. It's a very small molecule, and once you start adding sulfur, it's bigger, and then chondroitin sulfate is massive by comparison because it's a repeating structure. That's actually structural material, and the body's using sugar and protein as structural material in this case. The sugar is not necessarily an energy source. It's a structural material, which is really what it is in plants. Plants are using sugars to make their structures, and we're getting sugar out of the plants, and we're kind of overdoing it. We don't need that much sugar to make glucosamine. Most of that sugar is going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it says twice a day, with food or without food?
For this, it really doesn't matter because you're getting forms that are well absorbed. These are these are what the body would make if you were to take it. So they don't necessarily need transporters either. In some, there are nutrients that need transporters or things like that. I would tend to take that with a meal because I take most of my supplements with
Tell
meals.
people to take it with a meal. Yeah.
And how soon should you see any kind of effects?
MSM is going to give you the fastest effect. Really the benefits from glucosamine and chondroitin. And I was on a TV interview with folks from the Northwestern University Medical Centers, their joint and their pain clinic people were on an interview with me. And we all agreed that the main benefit from glucosamine and chondroitin was maintaining these structures over long term, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Right. And if you think when people start getting the bone on bone things in the joint and the joint is just evaporating and losing that structure, they said maintaining that is something that glucosamine and chondroitin will do. They won't build it back up and stretch that out, but they can help prevent that from eroding further. Now MSM, because it's a sulfur compound, it contributes to making these in the body where you make even more of them. And there is some evidence that MSM is going to work faster than glucosamine or chondroitin. And in fact, the actor James Coburn, that people might remember, I went to a lecture he gave years ago where he said he was almost crippled from doing these action scenes and things in the 1960s. And he started taking MSM and it restored his career. So, this is something, obviously we can't guarantee that for everybody, but, it can have an effect. And the benefit of MSM is adding a form of sulfur, a mineral sulfur, that the body uses to make other things. And, there's many sulfur compounds in the body. It's used for detoxification, for one thing, not just for building these structures. And
it's also important for a strong immune system, correct?
Yes. So, it's a cofactor in many different things in the body, both structurally and functionally. So I always tell people when they're looking at joint health or inflammation to look for both short-term and long-term solutions combined. And short-term, you might have hyaluronic acid, which is found in some of these formulas.
All right. So this is liquid hyaluronic acid.
Yeah.
Great product.
And there's actually an advantage to the liquid because there's more hyaluronic acid receptors in the mouth than elsewhere in the body. So if you swallow it, you can actually absorb a bit less than having it in the mouth.
So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of hyaluronic acid. We've actually done a podcast with hyaluronic as the moisturizing factor in the skin. So
not just the skin, but if you think of that bubble that the joint, like the knee joint, where there's a sac filled with liquid, that's the weight-bearing part. And what's the liquid in there is at least partially composed of hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid draws the moisture in there, and it's hard to get moisture in there because there's not a blood supply going there. It has to diffuse, and it's not a fast process typically, but you can get the fluid in there and kind of pump up that balloon, that water balloon that's in the joint where it bears weight better. And as a side effect, you're moisturizing the skin and other areas of the body because it is a moisture drawing and retaining compound.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That is cool. Now, you wouldn't take both these together, would you?
Absolutely.
You can,
Why not? No, they do different things.
I'm going to take both.
Well, it's because, these two are going to my pile.
They actually taste pretty good together, too, if you've had them together.
And they're both, 2 tablespoons twice a day?
You got it right in front of you.
Yeah, that's what that one is.
Yeah, that hyaluronic acid's a nice flavor.
Yep, there you go.
So we started, I forgot, I brought the turmeric with bromelain. I wanted to just show that for a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
On the hand model.
Just another, bromelain is a beautiful product. So it's known as an anti-inflammatory. So let's talk about that for a minute and why you guys put it in there.
Yeah, bromelain is an enzyme from pineapple stems, and it's in pineapple fruit. But the stem is kind of a waste material they're extracting it from, and it's very high in bromelain. And bromelain is called a proteolytic enzyme, which is an enzyme that digests protein. And protein, of course, is a lot of these materials in the body that are damaged and that you're trying to get rid of. So if you take bromelain with a meal, it will help you digest your protein. If you take it between meals, it will help break down various debris made of protein, not only in the digestive tract, but after it absorbs, you'll get a systemic effect of trying to scavenge these protein debris throughout the body.
So it's a great product. And here's the thing, we're here showing different products every podcast, and it's not meant to overwhelm people. It's meant to teach people there are tools that can benefit human health. So we're just going over different products for each subject. Of course, this subject is inflammation. And you start with something simple. You start with something, see what it does, how it makes you feel, but there's other tools that you can also add in. So a lot of people like this combination of the turmeric with the bromelain. Now, this is good old-fashioned, show that one, joint support.
Oh, I take this.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice
All right,
product.
you're on. Tell us about it.
Well, I have good days, I have bad days. Now, yesterday I played a lot of golf, and so today I'm really sore. But for the most part, because I have bone on my left knee, I think it's helped with that.
Yeah,
I think it's been less painful because I wasn't taking it before I had my right knee surgery. I had total knee replacement, and I wasn't taking it, and I was having fits with that knee. So I would like to think it's that product that's helped me.
Of course. Everybody, the naysayers of supplements always say, oh, it's placebo. That's a bunch of hooey, in my opinion. There is so much research showing the validity of all these, of the products and the nutrients, and Nature's Pharmacy is fantastic. You guys hear me say that all the time. What I love about this product, years ago, before we had all this, we didn't have hyaluronic on the market and all this stuff. When I worked at Bassett's, Pat and Joe were big on alfalfa. That's what they used for inflammatory joints and all these different things. And you've got alfalfa in there. It's a great product.
Yep.
And there's also boswellia, which is a wonderful anti-inflammatory. So tell us a moment about boswellia.
Yeah, boswellia is basically a frankincense, but it's a specific extract of the sap. And so you can't just do frankincense essential oil or something and get the same thing. This is something that's safe and effective. And in fact, we use a trademark material called boswellan, which is a specific name brand of boswellia extract. And this is something that helps with, they talk about COX-2 and specific inflammatory pathways in the body. And again, this is the body's way of dealing with injuries, debris, swelling, things like that, of managing it. The body has to be capable of not only causing inflammation as a weapon or tool, but of controlling it. So this is something the body will use to help control that reaction on specific pathways, versus bromelain, which is also in this product, which helps with actually cleaning up some of that debris. And we have a number of vitamins and minerals in here, which are really cofactors. And a lot of minerals in the body, you might think they're all used in the bone, and in general, a lot of them are. But they also have very, very important functions in other regards. For example, zinc is known to have at least 200 different pathways in the body to support health. And some of it is acting as a cofactor to make enzymes, which facilitate certain reactions, because the body is kind of controlling things by producing enzymes. We want this reaction. Here's an enzyme that will make it happen with very little energy, very little effort. And so it's encouraging certain things to happen in the body that are normal, healthy, restorative type reactions. So you're helping to convert nutrients into the things people need. How do you turn glucose and an amino acid into glucosamine and then attach glucosamine to the sulfate and then make these chains of things, these combinations that end up in something like chondroitin sulfate? You need cofactors that include vitamins and minerals, and that's why we include them in this kind of formula.
Great. All right. We're starting to get thin on time. Any other products?
I think we've gone through most. Okay. You had mentioned Indole 3, so I brought it.
Yeah. Indole 3 carbinol is something that the body would get from eating cruciferous vegetables.
Right.
And there are benefits from taking this that affect liver detoxification. And getting rid of toxins is one way to address inflammation, because the body is actually using antioxidants and other compounds in the liver to get rid of some of this debris. The debris, if it's broken down, doesn't just evaporate. It has to go to the liver. It has to be processed into safe forms to excrete through the urine or the stool. And so I3C is one way of doing that.
Very good. Because, this is a great product for when we talk about petrotoxins and xenoestrogens. We use this product to help support the liver to do its job better. So it was interesting when you suggested that, because I don't think of it as the anti-inflammatory part of it. I think of it as helping the liver do its job better, but it's a great product.
And it might also control that in the prostate and other areas, not just in the liver.
Right. Right. For prostate health. Yes. Yeah. So.
Okay. That's going in my pile because I need prostate health. Am I right, Neil? Prostate health at our age,
it gets more common every year as people age, as men age.
Well, again, I think it's more common because of what we're up against in modern times. I mean, everything I think is escalating because of the toxins.
It is.
So at any rate, I think that's a pretty good overview. Huh?
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, are we going to talk about what we're going to be doing next month, that he'll be a part of our roundtable, or do you not want to mention that yet?
Well, we'll talk. Neil.
It'll be next month. He'll be part of the roundtable. We're doing a special roundtable. We don't have to give you too much information, but Neil would be one of our guests.
Neil is, yep.
And we're going to do some exposure, as we're calling it. At least that's what I'm calling it. Yeah. So we look forward to having you on again, Neil. You did a great job as always.
Yeah. I guess we didn't even say that you've been with Now Foods for how many years? You're the national educator. You're the formulator, which I love.
You're a big damn deal.
Well, we have a big formulation team, but I do formulate some of these products. And this is my 28th year with the company.
You guys do a great job, man. Thank you. And thank you to Now Foods for everything they do to support the industry, support the independents. And thanks, Neil, for being with us today. That was very good. So
thank you.
All right. I love you. Many blessings.
Take care, Neil. There you go. Another fantastic friggin' interview. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, there's all these beautiful, we're here every week talking about the tools from Nature's Pharmacy. It's like, come on, let's get with it.
Let's get with it.
Let's get with it, man. They're out there.
Your job, everybody watching, is share this podcast. Okay. So all that great information with Neil and Now Foods gets out to people that may not know about it. And everybody suffers from inflammation.
Yeah.
Everybody, some more than others, and they just don't know. So just share this. As soon as you hear me, you watch this, boom, hit share. There you go.
And more people are sharing, and we're very grateful. Thank you.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we're very grateful.
Podcast numbers.
We're having fun.
Through the freaking roof.
So it's good. We're
killing it.
Yeah.
All right. Claudia, like always, I'm giving you the last word.
Well, I guess, I just always want to, we're here to remind everybody, Nature's Pharmacy is diverse. It's magnificent. It's sophisticated. It's far more complex than man's pharmacy. They're creating synthesized, isolated products that may have a place for some issues, but in the bigger picture of things, nature's pharmacy is the way to go. It's, so many things are helping to repair and heal. And in the big picture, we very rarely see adverse side effects of natural products. It's a beautiful thing. So open your hearts, open your minds, embrace your arms around, natural things, and just bring them into your life. You'll be glad you did. Do one thing at a time. Keep it simple. Keep it baby steps. And just feel what you're feeling, and you're going to be glad you did. So we appreciate you guys being here with us every week, and many blessings to everybody. A lot of prayers out there. The world needs them, man. So, peace.